So we shall get started. Amy, would you commence with the roll call, please?
John Mallers.
Here.
Ron Deere.
Here.
John Myers.
Here.
Jonathan T. Myers.
Here.
Dave Albertson.
Present.
John Dittmers. And Melinda Gooseberg.
Here.
Linda, would you do the honors of the invocation, please?
Yes, I'll do the invocation if everyone could bow their heads. Our Father in heaven, we're grateful for our opportunities in this land for freedom. We're grateful for those who serve our county and our country. We're grateful to be here this evening. We ask for a blessing on those not with us and those serving our county on the roads and in the hospitals and wherever they may be. Bless them, guide them, keep them safe. We ask for thy guiding hand to also be present in this meeting, that we be productive and that we will have civil discourse and that we may have conduct this meeting in a manner that's pleasing unto thee. And we ask for these things, Father, in Jesus Christ's name, amen.
Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States, the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, what's next? Approval of the agenda for today's meeting.
Move for approval.
Remote.
Revision on the health department.
Oh.
6 on the consent.
Yes. Did we all get a copy of that? Yes. There's a revision of number 6 on the consent agenda. Any additional information about that, or just?
Just because hi, Betsy Swearingen, Director of Health Department. We applied for, or I'm sorry, we ordered some promotional materials, and they normally are approved, but someone at the state didn't reach out to the feds for approval for them, so therefore they're not going to be approved. So we're going to move some money around and pay for them another way. That's about the long
What
and
was
short
the
of it.
promotional items for?
For my school liaison. So,
Oh, okay.
just to promote vaccines and health and all the good bubbles, little slap wrist,
Sure.
fun little things.
And this is all a grant?
Yes.
So you're pulling it? You're pulling it?
We're,
Revised. Revised.
it's revised, so we're just going to fund it a different way. It was very late notice because that's just how the state works.
So do we have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further comment? Call for the roll.
Ron Deere.
Aye.
John Myers.
Aye. Aye.
Dave Albertson.
Aye.
John Mallers.
Aye.
Melinda Gooseberg.
Aye.
All right. Now it is the public comment time. Limited to 5 minutes per person. Are there any public comments?
If there's no one out there, I'd like to say something.
Okay.
Melinda Greenberg, County Council. I'd like to recognize the 80th anniversary of D-Day. 34, Tuesday. The Allied invasion of Normandy took place, also referred to as D-Day. D-Day was the largest seaborne invasion in history. This operation began the liberation of German-occupied France. in the rest of the Western Europe and was the foundation of the Allied victory on the Western Front of Europe. D-Day was the pivotal point in World War II towards victory. 80 years ago, American soldiers and allies stormed the beaches of Normandy and began the process of liberating continental Europe from the Nazis. Other beaches were invaded, but Omaha Beach was the bloodiest. It was a hard battle even until midnight. It was the U.S. 1st Infantry Division that, excuse me, landed on Omaha Beach. The weather was not ideal. Strong winds blew landing craft east of their positions. These soldiers, These soldiers landed under heavy gunfire with no shelter. The stakes were so great, the impact so monumental, that this single day stands in history. 50% of the force died that day. It was this day that Germany began fighting a two-front war. Germany was forced to surrender less than a year later. And I wanted to recognize D-Day, the anniversary of the 80th anniversary of D-Day being June 6th. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no other comments, the public comment section is closed. Okay, the next issue is approval of the ordinance 2024-05. This is first reading for that ordinance. It's for the issuance of lit revenue bonds with property tax pledge for the community corrections building, probation facility.
Thank you. Jeff Peters Franklin, financial advisors to the county. Financing for this project is virtually identical to the financing that you did in 2020. You will be part of your income tax for correctional facilities and rehabilitation facilities. Currently, that revenue stream is about $11.8 million a year. The amount that your other financial advisor, Mike Reuter, has, I believe, worked into his model for the county is to take about $3.7 million a year of that 11.8, apply it toward payments of principal and interest, which would get this repaid in 9 or 10 years approximately. But again, it is same structure that you went through before a few years ago. The primary repayment source will be the income tax. The backup is property tax, and the reason we back it up with the property tax of the county is that is your best security. That will get you the best interest rate in the market, even though that you won't be using property tax to pay it back. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions on the structure and the securities.
Questions?
After talking, this is just the first reading of the ordinance, so eventually the council will just ask for
Today?
for first reading.
Okay.
Get the July meeting.
One other thing that Commissioner did want me to touch on was the approximate amount of the project is $38.4 million. Mike Reuter has suggested that potentially you use $10 million of your cash reserve in that correctional facility lit fund to buy it down and finance $28.4 million. So I don't know if that's something you want to discuss tonight or if you just want to think about that as you go forward before the approval. But Procedure-wise, we're looking at selling this sometime in August, closing at the end of August. So we'll need to make that decision as to how much the bonds really need to be versus how much cash you're going to contribute to the project, so that we'll have a set amount that we can sell the bonds for and get your funding approved.
But we don't have to do that tonight on the 10 million.
You don't have to do it tonight, but that is something that you'll need to consider as we go forward.
And I remember last year we had the, with those, what was coming in each year. Yeah, those numbers off the top of your head,
The amount of the revenue source?
the lit, I mean, not the lit, but the, I always get the two mixed up. The jail lit, yeah.
Yeah, this is the jail lit.
I mean, what, we had a projection of over how many years, was 100 and some million.
Yeah, I don't have a projection for all the years. You can go out 25 years from the beginning, so it'll all the way through 2044.
Okay,
And like I say, today, for 2024, your correctional facility lit revenue is $11,830,000 and change. You also received in May a supplemental correctional facility lit distribution of about 2.7 million, which was the amount you were under distributed from 2 years ago. The state always works off of a fairly conservative estimate, and then they true it up to you 2 years later after they verify those amounts of collections through the audit of income taxes.
yeah, I guess what I'm talking about is we had a projection over a period of time, and that 8 million would be coming out of that long-term projection, the 10 million coming out of that long-term projection.
Okay, that might be something that Mike Reuter had put together for you previously.
That was about the lit itself. And there is a sunset on that.
Correct, it is 25 years from implementation, which
Right.
will take you through 2044. So beginning with next year, you're scheduled to collect about $236 million through 2044.
Yeah, that was.
If it stayed the same amount as today, which it should continue to rise as the county's population and income tax rises.
Right. And the only, I guess as a commissioner question, the only 4 to 5 year project projection is this 38.
For the correctional facility.
Correct. I mean, we have been talking about that for a long time, but we didn't have the number. So that comes out to 38 million. And then the repay is there because we've got the bond payment going off this next year, I think. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay,
Last payment will be January of '25.
okay.
And I think, and I trust your judgment, Mr. Peters and our commissioners. How does the bond market look in August?
In August, it's hard to say. I still think we'll probably be in the mid-4s for net interest cost after we factor in premiums that you get off of that. Which again, historically, is not a bad bond market. You know, before we had all the super low rates, bonds were in the high 5s. So it's not a bad market to issue in. And these will be fairly short-term.
So a large part of this lit goes to operational expenses in the jails and in the correctional facilities. And I think down the road, you know, and it's going to be bound by this sunset. And the state legislature might do something with that, who knows, at that point in time. But I think the council needs to be looking at how to fund those operational expenses in the future. And I think that's going to be, you know, more of a transfer of how the revenue stream works and maybe go towards public safety lit or something of that nature. We've been prompted by the State Board of Accounts to look at all the tools in our drawer. So I just wanted to put that out there for the council's thought.
And that public safety lit does have no expiration date. It's not as efficient as the correctional facility lit because the correctional facility lit, you get to keep in its entirety for the county. The public safety lit, under current statute, you have to share proportionately with the cities and towns. But again, that is a perpetual revenue source at this point in time if you were to go that way, or if you're looking for that avenue after this sunsets.
And there's no such thing as a good tax, but there are taxes that are better than property taxes, which are a burden.
Okay. Any further discussion? So we just vote to keep it going, to approve it, and
Yeah, so you just need to call for a motion to approve it on first reading. We'll do a
Okay.
roll call vote. If there's no further discussion, then we'll do a roll call vote. And then, I know that for our purposes on the commissioner side of things and for Jeff's point of view, we will need probably by at your next meeting, determine how much cash the county wants to buy this down. So just be thinking about that over the next 30 days.
okay. So we have a motion to approve this on first reading.
Motion to approve ordinance 2024-05 into first reading.
John T. Myers, second. We have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Ron Deere.
Aye.
John Myers.
Aye.
Jackie T. Myers.
Aye.
Pamela Burton.
Aye.
Mallers.
Aye.
Melinda Griezmer.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right, next up is C, the routine matters, a consent agenda, as amended by the new number 6 that we heard about earlier in the health department. Any discussion on the consent agenda, or if no, then you want a motion to approve?
Move to approve as presented with the
Number 6 for the immunizations from the health department.
correct.
All right, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion to second. Any further discussion? Nope. We have the roll call, please.
Ron Deere.
Aye.
John Myers.
Aye.
Jackie T. Myers.
Aye.
Pamela Burton.
Aye.
Mallers.
Aye.
Melinda Griezmer.
Aye.
All right. On to D. The first item in D is county health.
Betsy Swearingen, Director of the Health Department. This was a request from Jeff and IT to cover the cost of new equipment, contracts and service agreements for the computer CAD. So, in the new building for us at the coroner.
I have a question. Betsy, is this leftover COVID money?
Actually, it's from 1159. That's our budget, but I think we moved money around. And yes, I think it would include some reimbursements from COVID in the past.
I thought it was. Thank you.
And then Jeff did agree that after the 3-year period that we pay now, IT will pick that expense up. Move it.
And what is it for again?
It's
Sorry.
for our server and then licensing and equipment that goes with it, with a change, with a move in location and
Oh.
and new stuff to add to it because of the coroner.
Okay. Any further discussion? Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve D1, county health number 1159, A and B.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Ron Deere.
Aye.
John Myers.
Aye.
Jackie T. Myers.
Yes.
Pamela Burton.
Aye.
Mallers.
Aye.
Melinda Griezmer.
Aye.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Second issue, number 2 is Community Corrections Juvenile Grant.
Damon Cox, Assistant Director for Juvenile Community Corrections. I'm here to appropriate our annual DOC grant for our base salaries.
Are these salaries increased any?
No, the grant stays the same from year to year, and then when we have to do pay raises or pay increases given by the council, that comes out of the lit.
This is all grant money here.
Yes. The total is $250,180.
If I may, I have reviewed it and it pretty much looks standard as before. So if no one has any additional questions, I'm prepared to make a motion.
Okay. Is there a motion out there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Ron Deere.
Aye.
John Myers.
Aye.
Jonathan T. Myers.
Aye.
Pamela Burton.
Aye.
Tom Alves.
Aye.
Melinda Griezmer.
Aye.
All right. Next one's number 3, the Family Resource.
Same situation, an additional grant received. It is a prevention services grant that we use to fund our family resource program.
Any questions? Do you have a motion?
Make a motion to approve item 3, Family Resource and Education 2425, number 9161.
You want to take 4 with that?
Yeah, I want to do 3 and 4 together. You want to go ahead and tell us about number 4 as well?
Yeah, number 4 is just to transfer money into a line item for part-time within our juvenile project income as a just-in-case. We were very close. Amy was able to help me get some money moved around within our 1233 fund, but I don't want to have to come back and redate things. So we're also trying to put money into our part-time line so that we have it just in case.
You want to modify your?
And modify to include community corrections, JPI, and number 4950.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Call the roll, please.
Ron Deere.
Aye.
John Myers.
Aye.
Jonathan T. Myers.
Yes.
Pamela Burton.
Yes.
John Mallers.
Yes.
Melinda Griezmer.
Aye.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, number 5, the Highway Department.
Good evening, Luke Maston, Highway Supervisor. Number 5 and 6 are our requests this evening. 5A and 5B are related. One modification though, 5B, the mechanic position, the dollar amount should be $53,565. It's advertised as $56,565. So A and B would change our current technician position in the shop back to a mechanic position. That's how we were structured pre-2020. The intent with the technician position was to bring someone in maybe with less experience, that sort of like a lube tech, someone who could assist with some minor maintenance. Fortunately, that position was created at a time when pay for experienced or even semi-experienced shop personnel went up quite a bit. So at that salary, I'm not confident that we can even fill that with someone who doesn't have a lot of experience.
Right.
In addition to that, we do have an opportunity currently to move an employee from within who's been with us for a while, who is familiar with our trucks and our equipment, has expressed interest in coming into the shop into a mechanic's position. So I know that typically the council does not like to make changes to personnel positions during the middle of the year, and completely understand why. I made this request because I have an opportunity to fill a position that is difficult to fill, and fill it with someone who is familiar with our fleet, which is a pretty rare circumstance.
Yeah.
I can go through all of them.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So 5C, 6A are both requests to appropriate additional funding for in our miscellaneous equipment line items in those two funds for purchase of trucks and equipment. I provided a list, detailed, so if you have any questions on it, I'd be happy to answer those, but essentially the request is to go ahead and appropriate some additional funds so that we can get some equipment purchased. The alternative would be, I would probably make that request at budget time to budget those additional dollars. My thinking was, especially with some equipment and trucks still having long lead times for delivery, we may as well just go ahead and budget the funding now and get those orders in so we can get those rolling. And then the last item is a professional services additional appropriation request. That is for engineering services related to the installation of intersection conflict warning signs at the intersection of County Road 144 and 25 West, or Smoky Row Road. We had an increase, pretty significant uptick in accidents at that intersection once NDOT finally closed off the Huggin Hollow Road intersection and the Morgan County 800 East intersections with State Road 37.
Sorry.
You're fine. So there are, particularly to the east, sight distance concerns. This project would install, if you've been out 144 towards Mooresville, similar, before you get to Mooresville, there's a similar installation there that notifies traffic at the stop signs if there is oncoming vehicles, so that they hopefully don't pull out in front of them. That is what this additional work would for, help getting that project designed and ready to go.
Sorry about the phone.
It's okay.
Luke, you have the commissioner's approval on this?
So,
So you haven't run it, you've run it before them, correct?
I've talked to intersection conflict warning. Actually, the commissioners approved that track this morning at their today.
They approved the trucks, the equipment.
Not officially, I should say. I'm not aware of any concerns they have with us replacing outdated equipment, but no, there was no official action by the commissioners.
And are you, the technician, you're eliminating that position?
Yes, basically turning it back into a mechanic's position.
Is it, I'm sorry, is it currently filled?
No,
So it's just, you're just getting rid of that and creating a new position that's higher paid,
yes,
but it's not filled?
and higher, but correct, going in it currently.
But mechanic is not a new, two different definitions. It's not a newly created position. It is an existing job description that exists for a mechanic.
Yes, we already have one mechanic position that is filled. This would have the same job description as that position.
All right, so we're not creating a new position that has to
Okay,
go through the
that's what I was-
process.
I was not getting there, but that's what I wanted to know, thanks.
It wasn't, the mechanic wasn't in your budget, but you're taking the funds from the technician, putting that into the mechanic's budget, but the position doesn't exist in the budget, but the job description does exist.
Correct.
And it's the same structure, I think I mentioned, we had pre-2020. We're just going back to that structure.
Are you actively trying to fill this as we speak?
I already have someone who is ready to step into that position.
From internal.
And I feel is qualified, yes, from internal.
I'll make a motion to approve the D5 and 6, County Highway, account 1176, A, B, C, D, and then number 6A.
Motion to approve, do we have a second?
Is that obviously with the reduction that
And that is,
5B at 53, 565?
that was A, yeah, that was part of it.
No second?
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Call the roll.
Ron Deere,
Aye.
John Myers,
Aye.
Jonathan T. Myers,
No.
Pamela Burton,
Aye.
John Mallers,
No.
Aye.
passes 4-6, or 4-2.
And it was just about it wasn't about anything, it was just about the position and the timing of the position and that sort of thing. That was all that was about.
Understand.
Trying to be consistent with that.
I understand. Thank you.
All right. On to other business. Get it pulled up here. First one is an abatement approval. Or I guess we're approving an abatement for another year.
CFR, yeah.
Is this, I have a question.
Yeah.
So there's this abatement for Martin and Jackson Umbarger. Is this something that has to be done every year or every 2 years? Or,
Every year.
because I remember doing this once before.
It is an annual review. They're required to submit their CF1s and F1s every year before May 15th. Does the council want to just tackle all three together, just one kind of big conversation, or?
That works.
That works for me.
So, anyway, both Umbarger for short and Sonico were supposed to submit those forms to the auditor before May 15th. So they did that on all three of these forms. The council's responsibility is to review them and see if they substantially complied with their statement of benefits. So the idea here in general, the 30,000-foot view, is to say the council's going to give them an abatement. Those companies or taxpayers are supposed to either create jobs or maintain jobs. The whole point is that we can't maintain our employment workforce or grow but for the abatement, right? So the Umbarger ones have been around since 2018. Sonico was first given by prior council. Some of the members now weren't on council then back in 22. I don't think Sonico submitted a CF1 or SB1 last year. I don't think they did. But that just means they didn't get the deduction last year. So they did submit this year, so they're asking for the deduction this year. Umbarger, on their SB1s, projected that they would retain 28 employees according to their CF1s, they actually retain 41. So based off the limited information that we are able to distill from the CF1s, it appears Umbarger, on both of their requests, have substantially complied. And then on Sonico, their SB1s were calling for an additional 8 employees. They actually created 34 employees, according to their SB1s and CF1s. So based on our review, at least, it appears that they have, at least on these documents, been in substantial compliance with their benefits, trade benefits, so.
By a single motion, or do we need to make motions on everyone?
Why don't we do a single motion for Umbarger and then do a second motion for Sonico?
Can I just ask another question? I know the Umbargers have been here before, because I was here in 2022, so I remember meeting them in their tax person. Has Sonico been in here before? Because I don't recall. Have they?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Both and I'll speak up for both of these entities. Both of them are fine local employers, and county benefits a lot from the taxes that they pay. So I'll just speak up for them in that regard. And this is about them complying with their CF1s.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, this is not the creation of a new abatement. So if this is a new abatement, there'd have to be a
it's
public hearing.
continuation.
and- Correct, yeah. So if there's a new one, then there'd be a public hearing and a bunch more stuff. This is after the fact. So after the council's awarded the abatement, this is just them. And really for the council to make sure they're abiding by what they said they would do.
Yeah.
Here's,
I would like to support John, JT, and what he said. I've reviewed the documents as well with everyone else, and in my opinion, I do believe they're compliant with what's required.
Making that motion, John.
okay, motion to approve E1 and 2. Approval of Form CF1 for Martin and Jackson and Barker.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Further discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Ron Deere.
Aye.
John Myers.
Aye.
Travis T. Myers.
Yes.
Pamela Burton.
Aye.
Aye.
Wanda Reese.
Aye.
and do something.
Okay. Now on to Sonico, same issue.
Make a motion for approval of Form CF1, real property for Sonico Flexible Packaging Incorporated.
Second.
Motion second. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Ron Deere.
Aye.
John Myers.
Aye.
Travis T. Myers.
Yes.
Pamela Burton.
Yes.
Myers.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Anything else with that? Is that done? Okay. Old new business, we have an Edinburgh Wright Hageman Public Library Board appointee as a correction to the form. And if you read the documents, it said a certificate of appointment documents were never filed by the previous director. And so they want to refile those and I guess reappoint the person.
I don't think we're necessarily having to reappoint anybody. It's really just kind of a clerical correction, so.
Any comments or anything? Move to approve.
Do we need a motion on it?
We do.
Move to approve as presented.
Any second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Please call the
Well,
roll.
real quick, one
Yes.
thing, it's just really just a question actually for Councilwoman Burton, since she's the president. Do you have any objections to John Mauer signing the document tonight as vice president, or do you want to sign this when you get back?
John, I'm perfectly okay with John signing it.
I do have a question for, you sitting outside?
Me? Yeah. I'm sitting outside. I'm in Sedona, Arizona, and it's
Yeah.
104 here.
Wine glass out of picture this?
No, that was Coke, I promise. It's only 3:00 in the afternoon here.
Had a wine, that's all right.
That's it. So I guess call the roll.
Ron Deere,
Aye.
John Myers,
Aye.
Travis T. Myers,
Aye.
Pamela Burton,
Aye.
John Mallers,
Aye.
Linda Reesmer,
Aye.
Right, next to last is approval of a salary, amending the salary ordinance. I think it's for the community corrections grant, juvenile grant, for those.
Yeah, family resource and county highway.
Okay, and the highway change as well,
All that.
amending the salary ordinance. Corrections grant, family resource, highway. Any questions, any comments? One way or the other? None?
I move to approve ordinance 2024-06 as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Ron Deere,
Aye.
John Myers,
Aye.
Travis T. Myers,
Aye.
Pamela Burton,
Aye.
Aye.
Linda Reesmer,
Aye.
And the last thing I had was, we have our first reading for the budget hearings on September 3rd. And our financial analyst, Mike Reuter, won't be able to make, that was scheduled to start at 8:30 on September 3rd. And Mike Reuter was gonna do a presentation that day, but he can't get here till 10:30. Anyone care? Do we want to go ahead and still start at 8:30? We've kind of, any discussion on that one way or the other?
Well, as I indicated, we previously started and then went through the process and then there weren't any decisions made by 10:30 anyway, because
Okay.
we're receiving information. I would suggest that we proceed as planned. Would be my comment.
I'm fine with that. Anyone else have any comments on that? We'll still start at 8:30 and just meet with him at 10:30.
I'm fine with it. This is the first reading and it's gonna go through us again, so. I'm fine with it.
Any issues with that, one way or the other?
Pam, your thoughts?
I agree completely. To move forward at 8:30.
Okay. So that's just an agreement. We don't have to vote or anything
You
on
don't need
that.
to take a motion.
Okay.
And be-
Okay, so that's been
and
agreed.
before we adjourn, I just want to clarify with Amy, the question was asked before, and I think I interpreted it correctly. The notice went out, all the department heads and elected officials about, excuse me, our hearing dates, not a hearing, our workshop dates. They were going to submit whether or not they wanted to make a presentation so that that date could be shortened, it could be lengthened, it depends upon how many people suggest. And you gave them a date to submit that to you by, is that correct? Or,
I haven't done that part yet.
but you did say it in that memo, correct?
I told him when the date of the workshop was gonna be, but the times were to be determined.
Based upon how many requests to be heard. That's that's what I was saying. So that if we get 50, then it'll be a certain period of time. If we get 5, it'll be less. Okay, and then you're gonna give them a date to tell you, so we can plan how long those dates might be. And then you gave them the dates so that you could get the books and everything. Have you had any inquiries about that?
I just had some general questions.
Okay, but nothing out of the ordinary? Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
We are adjourned.
You can make that one.